I've been going back and forth on whether to post this. I'm not someone who usually talks about personal things publicly, but I feel stuck in my own head and I need an outside perspective. This isn't a dramatic story. No cheating, no huge fights, no villains. And maybe that's why it's so hard to let go of. About a year ago, I met her through work-related circumstance. Nothing romantic, just normal conversation. We live in different cities, have different routines, different plans for the future. From the very beginning, I told myself this was temporary. No expectations, no future thinking. She seemed to be on the same page. At first, it was just nice, easy conversations, texts here and there, occasional calls. Over time, the conversations changed. We stopped talking about our days and started talking about our lives. Past mistakes, fears, things we don't usually share with new people. I can't point to the exact moment when it shifted. It wasn't sudden. I didn't wake up one day and think, I'm in love. It happened quietly. I started checking my phone more often, noticing when hours passed without a message, wanting to tell her things first, even before close friends. What caught me off guard was how comfortable I felt with her. I didn't feel the need to impress her or play a role. I could be honest. Even about the parts of myself I usually keep guarded. That feeling pulled me in deeper than I expected. After a few months, it became obvious to me that this wasn't just casual anymore. And that's when the problem started. We were still in different cities, still without a shared plan. And if I'm being honest, I couldn't clearly see a realistic future. I'm a rational person. I tend to think in steps and consequences. Every logical part of me said, this leads nowhere stable. But emotionally, I felt the opposite. I tried to create distance, text less, share less, stay more neutral. It didn't really work. She noticed immediately. She asked directly what was going on. I avoided giving a clear answer, not because I wanted to manipulate anything, but because I genuinely didn't know what the right answer was. We never officially called this a relationship, but it also hasn't been just friendship for a long time. Sometimes it feels like we're stuck in a strange middle ground, too close to walk away without pain, too far apart to fully commit. The hardest part is not knowing who would be hurt more if this ended, or if dragging it out hurts us both more in the long run. Update 1. After writing this, I finally had an honest conversation with her. No accusations, no pressure. I told her I felt lost and that living in this undefined state was becoming heavy for me. She responded calmly. She said she feels something similar, but she's just as afraid of the future as I am. She doesn't want to push me, but she also doesn't want to lose the connection. We didn't make any big decisions. We didn't cut things off, but we also stopped pretending everything was fine. It helped a little emotionally, but it didn't solve the core issue. Update 2. A few weeks have passed since then. We talk less often now, but the conversation feels more honest. Some days it feels like we're slowly learning how to let each other go. Other days it feels like the attachment is getting stronger, not weaker. I still don't know what the right outcome is, but for the first time in a long while, I'm not running away from how I feel. I'm just allowing the feelings to exist, even if they're uncomfortable. If anyone has been in a similar situation, I'd really appreciate hearing how it ended for you. Update 3. I didn't expect this story to stay with me for this long. I honestly thought time would dilute it, like most things do. That if I stayed busy enough, logical enough, it would slowly fade into the background. That hasn't happened. What did happen is quieter and maybe harder to explain. I started noticing how often I compared everything to her. Conversation with other people felt fine, but never quite as real. Dates felt normal on the surface, but internally I was absent. Not because anyone else did something wrong, just because my emotional baseline had shifted without me noticing. At some point, she asked me a simple question. Do you think this is holding us back? And I didn't answer right away, because the truth was uncomfortable, yes, and no. Yes, because staying in this undefined space made it harder to fully move forward. It kept both of us emotionally half available, always with one foot in the past conversation, the last call, the last moment of closeness. But also no. Because despite everything, this connection taught me things I didn't expect to learn anymore. How to be present, how to listen without fixing, how to care without control. It reminded me that feelings don't follow timelines or geography. We talked for hours that night, not in an emotional rush, not dramatically, just honestly. About what we could give, about what we couldn't, about the fact that neither of us wanted to become a what if that slowly turns into regret. We didn't promise anything, no deadlines, no plans to move, no labels, just one agreement. Not to lie to ourselves anymore. Since then, something shifted. The anxiety eased a bit. The attachment didn't disappear, but it softened. I stopped obsessing over outcomes and started paying attention to reality instead of projections. I don't know how this ends. Maybe we slowly drift apart. Maybe distance stops mattering one day. Maybe this story ends quietly, without a clear turning point. But for the first time, I'm okay not forcing an answer. Sometimes love isn't about choosing forever. Sometimes it's about acknowledging that something mattered, even if it wasn't meant to last. 6 months later. About 6 months have passed since I last wrote anything about this. I didn't plan to come back with an update, but enough has changed that it feels honest to do so. Life slowly stabilized, not overnight, not because of one big decision, just through a series of small, consistent choices. I focused on work, rebuilt routines, started taking better care of myself. My days stopped revolving around emotional uncertainty and started feeling structured again. The biggest change, though, was internal. I stopped replaying conversations in my head. I stopped checking my phone out of habit, not because I forced myself to let go, but because the need simply faded. The attachment loosened on its own once my life became fuller again. We still talk occasionally, friendly, warm, but lighter. The weight that once defined every interaction is gone. There's no tension now, no unspoken expectations. Just two people who shared something meaningful and didn't turn it into resentment. Looking back, I don't regret this connection. It didn't derail my life, it refined it. It showed me that I'm capable of deep emotional presence without losing myself. It also showed me where my limits are and why clarity matters more than intensity in the long run. I don't wonder what if anymore. That question lost its power once I stopped romanticizing uncertainty. Sometimes love isn't about holding on or letting go at the right moment. Sometimes it's about letting something change you and then allowing yourself to move forward without bitterness. That's where I am now, calm, grounded, and genuinely okay.